Hey there, welcome back. Thanks for being here. If you are enjoying this podcast or this episode, please consider leaving a review on Spotify or Apple. I would greatly appreciate it. So, I wanted to talk about something that is not spoken about much in the coaching and healing space, especially in the medicine space. And that is about boundaries and having boundaries with your clients and with yourself as well. And I don't mean boundaries as in don't inappropriately touch your clients. Of course, don't do that. That's a whole separate episode, which there are many episodes about transference and countertransference in the psychedelic space if you want to explore that. But this is about, really holding the boundaries in yourself first and foremost. How is it that you want to be with your clients? What is it that you want? What are your limitations? What feels right to you? What doesn't feel right? Are you saying yes for the wrong reasons to certain clients, especially just for money? Are you truly serving them? There's a lot of questions when it comes to this. And the key is you really first have to develop the boundary within yourself and really know what you stand for in your work, in your business, in your limits that you have with clients. I see this a lot as someone who coaches clients working with clients. And very often in this kind of healing, spiritual space, coaching, helping people, even therapy, our mission, our goal as, someone helping people heal or transform or expand is service. And what happens is when I see this with my clients, when you're just really dedicated to help and being of service, you will very often, not have appropriate boundaries or bend your boundaries or be a little too flexible for people. And I don't mean this in a negative way. Of course, I am flexible with my clients. I'm here to serve them. And sometimes I catch myself really, maybe kind of letting a client cross boundaries too much where it just doesn't feel right and good to me because I'm very clear about my limits, my boundaries, and my containers that I hold with my clients. But when they start to get a little too loosey-goosey around showing up or scheduling or their own requests for, a certain level of flexibility, and of course, I'm always very understanding. And sometimes there are opportunities where you just have to say, look, no, this is my container. It's either you stick to it, or if you can't make a call, or if you have to rearrange your life, here are my limits, or here's how we can make it work. But what I see a lot out there with my clients is very often they will work with people and they feel this need to just say yes to anything because they need the money. And this is where things get really dicey, where, yes, you can have a certain level of, maybe overstepping your own personal boundary to be more flexible for your client, maybe rearranging calls at the last second. This life happens. There's nothing wrong with that. Flexibility is normal. I've had clients, have to go away for a month or, go offline for whatever they're doing in Peru or whatever. And of course, we can rearrange calls and make things flexible. But, when a client is starting to get a little too disrespectful of your time and not just your time, but your energy and what you're here to do and how you want to serve in your way that works best for clients. If they start to cross the line or negotiate with you or come up with something that they think is better, but that you're holding a certain container that works, this is where boundaries are so important, especially if you're doing work in the psychedelic realm or some kind of healing, very deep healing space. It's important to actually hold a very tight container. And I've seen this with certain people, and I have so many stories I could share about this. I will say, in a particular psychedelic space about a year ago, the container got a little too loose. It was someone who really believes in sovereignty, which, by the way, I really believe in sovereignty and freedom. Yes, do what you want. Who am I to tell you what to do? And there is such a thing as holding a container, and that includes containers for coaching. That includes containers for business coaching even. And when I was in this kind of loose space where it was like kind of all the rules seemed to be thrown out the window, I didn't like it. I actually felt really unsafe. I knew I was safe, but I felt unsafe in my body. And additionally, I witnessed a lot of wonky energies come in from what I would call like a really loosely held space. Like there was energetically not a tightness to it. And I just felt like it was really like allowing in anything to penetrate the container. And so I decided in that moment, I was like, I don't want to sit in these kind of containers. Yeah, I like the idea of having some level of like sovereignty and taking care of yourself. But if everybody's just all over the place and no one's really holding it and there's no, tight energy, it's like, well, I could just do that on my own, in my own way, like with myself, and it's like, is that even a container anymore? So that's one experience. Another, and this is something I've had to deal with, and I've seen my clients go through this so much. When a potential client comes to you, and of course you're like, yes, I want to work with this client. I want to help them. I want to be of service and I need the money. And I hear that all the time from my clients. Well, like I really need a client. I need the money, especially when you're in your first few years. And money is important and we can't bypass that. I see clients very often. What happens is there's kind of a power differential where the potential client comes in as like, well, I'm going to pay you, and you as a coach or a healer or a space holder of sorts is like, okay, well, what is it you need? Like you're there to serve them, but you're not there to actually be disrespected or walked all over or negotiated with. And that's something I've gone through recently is, and many years ago, I was like, I'm not negotiating with anyone. Like there's no negotiation. It's like, here's what works. Here's how I do it. Sometimes I will, like it depends on what the situation is. And sometimes it's valid. Like, oh, okay, well, for your situation, you need this. For your place where you're at in your work, this would be better. And then I think about it and I ask myself, does that feel right? Does that feel good to me? And by the way, is this even going to work? That's one thing I've really learned is the last couple times I've had people negotiate with me and I gave into it where I was like, well, and I always tell them honestly, like, I'm not sure this is going to work as effectively, but if that's what you really want, we can try it out. But I'm just going to make this statement that I cannot guarantee anything because what I know to work is what I offer. If I didn't know it worked, like I wouldn't offer it. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing this a long enough time to know here's the container I hold my clients in. And I've seen it work over and over and over. And when I make adjustments to that container, it's usually to help them even more. It's because I've found something that's even better or added a new modality or, given certain bonus calls or whatever it is, added astrology sessions like I do. But when someone says, well, I know you offer this container, but I actually only want this and I want to do it over this much, this many months. And, here's what I want to pay. It's like, is that really going to work for you? And this is where I actually believe it's a key to actually growing your business and making money because it's the energy of what you're holding. And I know this because, I've spent a lot of years like studying like, oh, okay, well, where's my energy going and how is this affecting potential clients and clients? And when you really hold your energy in the sovereign pillar of your own light, like really knowing your center and what you stand for and what worked for the kind of people you're serving, that is an attractive energy that will attract in the ideal clients. And I'm telling you, I have had so many amazing soul ideal clients over the years. Like sometimes I actually can't even believe how amazing some of the people I work with are. But occasionally I'll have someone come in that's like, look, I'm paying you, so here's what I want. And they come in with this energy, that's like, and I get it. I recently got a new car. Yay. But I was like kind of freaking out about getting it and deciding where to get it. And I had this kind of, I came in and plus I was like already mistrusting of the car salesman. I came in with this energy of like, look, I'm doing you a favor by buying a car. Actually, you know what? I learned very quickly, they're offering me a car that I can only get at a few places, and it's kind of like take it or leave it. They don't need the sale. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth. This is my other point. So when you're a coach, healer, space holder, therapist, whatever you are, and you're trying to grow your business, and of course you're like, I need the money. But what you have to really remember, first, get yourself centered in your own energy, your own boundaries, and know, like, what do you stand for? Who do you want to work with? What do you stand for? What works best for you and what you're bringing to this world? Like, what is your unique medicine? And stick to that as much as it feels right to you. And the only way you can know is by knowing, like, does this feel right? Do I know this is going to work? Is this what's worked in the past? Does it intuitively feel like, okay, this is a possible, way we can work where it feels good? But if it intuitively feels like, there's something about this that I don't think is going to work right, or I've tried that and it didn't really go well before, then just say no. And remember that there are 8 billion human beings on planet Earth. And if you say no to a client, or you hold your firm boundaries and you say, look, I cannot do it that way. We are only doing it this way, and take it or leave it. What that is it becomes so much more of an attractive manifestation energy that, maybe they'll say no and they'll walk away, but someone else who respects your boundaries and respects your container and respects your unique medicine and really honors it and wants it. Well, let's see, there's 7.9999999 billion other people out there besides that one person who said no that want what it is that you offer. And you have to deeply trust in that. Not everybody's going to say yes to you. Not everybody's the right fit for you. Honestly, I can't even tell you the number of times where someone's asked me for help, come to me for coaching, and I've actually sent them to other people, and the two, well, let's say there's 3 times in particular. There's probably more than that, but there's 3 that are coming to mind where I was a little on the fence, where I'm like, I'm really not feeling this person. I'm not sure if we're the right fit. Like, there's just, sometimes it's unexplainable. It's just energetic. It's karmic. It's, personality patterning. It's wounding, it's the energetic patterning of what I'm carrying and they're carrying. And maybe sometimes it rubs wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're a human. You've had this happen with past friends or acquaintances or just people you've met, that it's like, your blueprints don't mesh, and that's okay. It's 8 billion people. We're not all meant to be friends or best friends or client and therapist or client and coach or client and healer. So, the more you just really remember that, okay, like this is this truly in service to this person? And if it's not, then just say no. And actually, that one of the most in-service things you can do is actually, refer them to someone else, only if you know someone else that might be a better fit. Give them some other ways to get help. And I've done that. I have a list of people where it's like, you know what? You're not the right fit for me because of XYZ reason. And sometimes it doesn't even matter. You don't have to even tell them. But sometimes it's genuinely, not the right kind of business or offering, or they're not at the right place in their journey or whatever it is. And I'll say, like, actually, I think my friend so-and-so would be better for you. Or I think this modality would be better. Or, you know what? You actually need, I don't know, like a certain kind of therapy first and then come to me. Whatever it is, that is the most in service you can be to not just them, but yourself. Because I've seen over and over when clients have a intuitively not great feeling about something and they say yes and they do it anyways, it always ends up backfiring. I mean, it literally ends up not feeling right and not working out and not feeling good, or maybe it's just not optimal. I've had that before where it's like, it's okay, but it's not optimal. And I've gone through this 3 times in the last like 2 years, where each time it's like, wow, a deeper lesson. And for those of you that have seen it, well, actually, I don't know if you can see it anymore. It's probably disappeared because Facebook changed it. But I actually did a whole Facebook Live about how I gave thousands of dollars back to a new client about 10, 15 minutes into our first phone call. There was just, it was a long story. I had a sales team back then, and I do not have a sales team anymore. And they sold someone a spot and started working with me. And I was like, wow, this person is like very much not the right fit. She wanted to do medicine work and had like zero respect for this medicine. And honestly, the way her energy, it was all in the energy. The way she was coming at me, with her energy of like, well, I'm paying you and I want this and I want that. And so give me this because I'm paying for your service. And I was like, that's not how it works. It's a two-way relationship. We are in a relationship together, and if you're going to play a power trip, like I'm better than you because I'm paying you lots of money, then it's not going to work. The best outcomes, the most results I've seen over the years when working with, hundreds and hundreds of clients is when we enter into it together. It's a co-creative journey. It's a container I'm helping to hold, and we both show up. But there is no power differentiation, It's like that. I would run from people like that. And it's never also about like, oh, I'm giving you all the answers. It's not about that. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you. And yes, I have certain answers that you probably don't even, like have no idea about. But in the end, you are a sovereign human being and you're a pillar of light, and you have to be really firm and listen to that. So I'm here to guide my clients to become their truest selves, to become their most authentic selves, and bring their medicine out there into the world in a way that actually really resonates with the kind of clients they want to work with. And I'm here to help my clients be that person, which then, and of course there's strategy and there's making things effective and there's the 3D and how do you make it really work. Of course I have all that, but I'm not here to tell you my unique formula that only works if you follow the exact steps, because it has to have your uniqueness and your flavor. And this is where it becomes so important for me to hold this deep pillar of my center and my light, and encourage my clients and help them and work with them to really hold their container, their light, their pillar of sovereign service. And when you're in that, you are more likely to make more money and get more clients and do your best work on the world. But if you're like off and kind of just like wonky and loose in your boundaries and saying yes for the wrong reasons and in it just for the money, and like, it's not going to work. And it ends up really like, it'll bite you in some way in the end. And I've seen it manifest in so many different ways with my clients. I've seen one of my clients was telling me it was she, oh, well, a lot of clients just like don't show up or they don't come, and I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, what is it in you that you're not holding? Like, why would someone just bail on a call with you at the last second? There's something deeper there to look at. Or people who, don't pay, which is the worst, or people who like try to negotiate something different in their payments, This is where it's really important to just know and have deep, deep trust that it's okay if you let someone go. It's okay if you say no to a payment or a potential income, because there are 8 billion people on planet Earth, and you are not here to serve everybody. You're here to serve what feels right to you, what feels best in service to that client, and really have such a deep faith that there is money in so many other ways that can come to you. You could say no to someone and you could actually get a client paying you double the price, right? It's always this or something better. So, but this has to start from within you first and foremost. I hope this was helpful. I'm glad we got to explore this together. If you have more questions about this, please feel free to reach out and take a look at my offerings. I am actually bringing to the world a new offering in the next month or 2 months. That is a private container where we're doing a lot of subconscious reprogramming work with my transformational neurolinguistic programming, along with coaching and some metaphysical work as well. I'm really excited to be offering this. If you want to hear more, please shoot me a message on any of the platforms or an email. And I hope to see you back here next week. Bye.